Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Philosophically, the UNC is not opposed to what the PNM government purports to achieve with this bill. However, once again, the PNM falls short in its implementation. This is yet another roadmap to the rich getting richer. It's like the PNM gets the best training program from the most qualified physical trainer and then cuts corners and doesn't put the requisite effort and ignores the nutritional plan and eats extra doubles, donuts, cakes, and drinks sweet drinks. Clearly, the PNM has failed to grasp the enormity of this novel opportunity for a government, for politicians to alleviate societal ills with careful, strategic, well-planned, efficient, balanced implementation of an exciting new industry with boundless opportunities for large segments of the population, especially those in the traditional at-risk areas. It is not often that a government is presented with the opportunity to develop a framework for the growth and development of an entirely new sector from the ground up, especially in these times. The opportunity is especially precious for us here in Trinidad and Tobago, given the current deplorable state of our economy. According to the latest Article 4 consultation by the IMF published in March 2022, the following exists in Trinidad and Tobago. The combined efforts of COVID-19 and energy production declines and price shocks have taken a heavy toll on Trinidad and Tobago's economy. Real GDP contracted by 7.4% in 2020 and is estimated to further contract by another 1% in 2021. Inflation remained mostly subdued by the recent surge in international food and energy prices, but this has pushed it up to 3.9% by October 2021. The fiscal position worsened significantly during financial 21 due to lower energy proceeds and outlays to mitigate the pandemic. The fiscal deficit widened to 11.6% of GDP, that is billions of dollars, and remained elevated at 10.1% of GDP in financial year 2021. As a result of the large deficits and the GDP contraction, central government debt increased from 45.4% of GDP in fiscal 2019 to 65.9% of GDP in 2021. Real GDP growth in 2022 is expected at 5.5%, reinforced by continued policy support and anticipated recovery. But this growth is minuscule to the losses that have been seen over the last 3 years. We should be aiming at growth rates in the double digits. Guyana, we cannot battle Guyana, but Guyana is up at 73.6%, and it's envisaged that this will continue for them for the next 4 or 5 years. We have so many issues in this country: crime, unemployment, education system that is not benefiting all, leaving some behind, the despair of young people who see no future for themselves. This was all illustrated and enunciated in the Dr. Selwyn Ryan report of 2013-2014. And unfortunately, this report is collecting dust on the shelves of PNM ministries across the board. But this bill here today presents the PNM with an opportunity to alleviate some of those problems. Many, including my colleagues and myself, have spoken ad nauseum about this government's failure at diversifying the economy away from oil and gas, while they inexplicably dismantled and destroyed the very industries on which they maintained their economic dependency. Ironically, for the first time in our nation's history, we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, are suffering instead of benefiting from a global increase in oil prices, the shocks that have been brought about by the unfortunate war that continues between Russia and Ukraine. One would therefore expect that any right-thinking government, any government that is concerned about its people, any government interested in increasing employment and revenues, any government motivated to spawn innovation, entrepreneurship, and research and development in a globally booming sector, such as the medicinal cannabis industry, would jump at the opportunity to create sound legislation aimed at ensuring that Trinidad and Tobago participates fully in and benefits from this industry through adequate strategic thought, planning, alignment, and, most importantly, implementation. True to form, however, the PNM government once again falls dismally low below any such expectation. Not only are we years behind several of our CARICOM counterparts in bringing this legislation, but what has been brought is a poor excuse for a bill in the first place, let alone one that treats with a sector of growing global importance. It is clear from what has been presented here that no real effort has been put into laying a firm foundation for the industry. This bill is supposed to serve as a roadmap for the development of the sector, but instead it looks like it was done in a vai-ki-vai manner. So let's get down to the bill itself. An act to provide for the regulatory control of the handling of cannabis for certain purposes. The establishment of the Trinidad and Tobago Cannabis Licensing Authority. Right off the bat, there are several areas of great concern with the way this act is written. In fact, my reading and interpretation of the act is that either it was not important enough to put any real work and intellectual capital into it, or it was important enough for personal interest to make the legislation loose, open to interpretation, manipulation, and loopholes. I make this statement based on my research of similar acts brought to the parliaments of some of our closest neighbors, not because I want to go there and live, but because this PNM government has once again ensured that we are last out of the blocks in a global sprint. Not only that, but by comparison, this bill that we are debating here today pales in comparison in terms of comprehensiveness, protections of our people, and businesses and overall substance. I will, however, not lay blame at the feet of this current Attorney General, as I am fully aware of the timelines involved in formulation, drafting of legislation. Clauses 4 to 14 deal with the constitution of the board and the functioning of the board. First and foremost, we have the establishment of the licensing authority, which inter alia is responsible for advising the ministry on the development of national policies and measures for the regulatory control on the handling of cannabis, granting, amending, suspending, revoking, or canceling licenses, and setting the terms and conditions of the licenses. This authority is to be managed by a board of directors. One would therefore think that the board should be carefully constituted to ensure that those appointed represent the most important perspectives, agencies of the state, and moral and ethical interests to create sound, fair, and all-encompassing policies. In this bill, the cabinet appoints the entire board. Why this insatiable lust for total and complete control? This PNM cabinet has already illustrated in 6 3/4 years in its appointment of approximately 153 existing boards and an appetite for interlocking directorships, with, for example, one human being on as many as 7 boards. By comparison, in Barbados, the Barbados Medicinal Licensing Board, also with 9 members, shall be appointed in the following manner: 8 persons by the minister responsible for agriculture, but with clear qualifications and specific guidelines for appointment of each of those people. and 1 person by the minister appointed for health, also with clear guidelines. The Jamaica Cannabis Licensing Authority, as stated in the Dangerous Drug Amendment Act 2015, the authority states the authority shall consist of the following members: 1 member appointed by the minister responsible for agriculture, 1 by the minister responsible for health, 2 members appointed by the minister responsible for industry and commerce, 1 member appointed by the minister responsible for justice, 1 by the minister for national security, 1 by the minister for science and technology, and 1 appointed by the minister responsible for finance, giving a variety of expertise and people who could contribute to the overall management of the industry. It continues in Jamaica: 1 member appointed by the minister responsible for foreign affairs. And then there were ex officio members, showing the amount of knowledge, experience that needs and is required to run and create a novel new industry to make sure it functions well. The chairman of the National Council on Drug Abuse is an ex officio member in Jamaica. The following members appointed by the minister responsible for justice must be a representative of the Attorney General's Department with expertise in the area of international law, a person representative of academia. All of these things show that the global industry is ballooning and going at a rate that requires all hands on deck. But I do not see the same sort of indication in this bill that we're debating today. I see a bit more of the same old, same old. In Jamaica, you also have 4 persons representative of civil society groups as ex officio members and other non-governmental community-based and faith-based operations. However, in this bill, in clause 6.2 of this bill being debated here today, it states that the board shall comprise 9 persons appointed by the president from among persons with qualifications and at least 5 years' experience in any of the following: law, management, finance, accounting, medicine, scientific research, agriculture, law enforcement, education, or rehabilitation. The way this is worded, the entire board could be made up of persons with qualifications, experience in 1 or 2 areas, as opposed to other legislation which ensure diversification in the board, disparate views and experience. Compared to the Medicinal Cannabis Industry Act 2018, for example, of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our small, tiny neighbors. 2, the board shall be appointed by the cabinet and shall consist of the following ex officio members also: the Attorney General or his nominee, the Commissioner of Police or his nominee, the Comptroller of Customs or his nominee, the Chief Surveyor or his nominee, the Chief Agricultural Officer or his nominee, the Executive Director of Invest SVG, and or the Chairman of the Advisory Council on the Misuse of Drugs established under the Drug Prevention and Misuse Act. As we heard some speakers today talking about addiction and so on, some of these other countries have taken that into consideration. The Chief Medical Officer is an ex officio member in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Director of the Bureau of Standards also, especially when you're dealing with quality products and products that could, if not monitored carefully, could bring health risks to the population. 4 other persons, look at the amount of people involved in this in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they are way ahead of us. 4 other persons, hereinafter referred to as appointed members, are drawn from among the following disciplines in St. Vincent and the Grenadines: medicine, law, engineering, scientific research, business, land development, and agriculture, or other appropriate disciplines. The appointed members of the board shall be persons appearing to the cabinet to be of integrity, capable of exercising competence, diligence, sound judgment, and impartiality in fulfilling their functions pursuant to the provisions of this act. I see no such thing in this bill, and maybe in committee stage we can make amendments so that we can at least follow some of the best. There's one benefit of being last: you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You could follow what you think is good in other jurisdictions. Conflicts of interest. Conflicts of interest in this bill, I found it very interesting. The way the clauses treating with conflicts of interest, excuse me, by board members was worded. In fact, there seems to be contradictions in the clauses themselves. Clause 6.3, for example, states, no person appointed to the board shall be or become engaged or employed in the handling of cannabis or have an actual or contingent pecuniary interest in any company, firm, or other entity which is regulated by the authority. But then in clause 7.3, it reads, and I quote, a member shall, within 7 days of becoming A, engaged or employed in the handling of cannabis or acquiring an actual interest, or B, aware of his acquisition of a contingent pecuniary interest in any company, firm, or other entity which is regulated by the authority, make a declaration of that fact in writing to the board and resign from office. So after you sit there, you get all the insider information. You then join or get involved in the business where you can benefit. This bill says that we congratulate you and give you 7 days if you declare your interest to then resign. I think we have made a very big mistake there. We should be in the committee stage stating that that is not on in any form or fashion, and we do not tolerate that, and we expect you as a member of the authority to not use insider training or insider information to join or benefit in any form or fashion. This kind of soft, wishy-washy thing will not work, and I don't understand how it found its way in there. Because, unfortunately, in this PNM, making a declaration, for example, in normal jurisdictions, making a declaration is a very serious thing. But in this PNM government, we have seen that absolutely no efficacy or integrity, as we have clear examples of members of this government failing to fill out integrity forms, failing to declare personal benefit, and signing declaration on sources of cash deposits later found to be false. So what is signing a declaration? How are we all of a sudden going to miraculously say that signing a declaration for a member of the authority is something so big and pertinent and death-defying and dangerous? I think we are encouraging wrongdoing, and we need to be stronger to let people know if they are coming forward to serve, it is to serve the entire country in the entire interest and do what's best for the industry and the nation and not for themselves. This government treats recusals as the norm in cabinet, yet comes to legislate resignation 7 days following a conflict of interest. If this watered-down principle was upheld halfway, half the PNM cabinet would have been forced to resign week after cabinet meetings. This bill is overtly vague. I spoke earlier about the fact that we have in our hands an opportunity to carefully strategize for this sector so that people from a wide variety of backgrounds, income brackets, industries, be they farmers, entrepreneurs, scientists, academics, landowners, and many others, may gainfully participate in the sector, strengthen the value chain, and lay the foundation for sustainability and meaningful contribution to our GDP as we compete with the world. A government that is interested in encouraging such participation puts clauses in place that identify and protect enterprises of different sizes from the onset to ensure that persons recognize that there are opportunities for themselves, no matter how big or small. Persons feel protected by the legislation. The large cash and resource-rich companies do not gobble up the entire pie in the name of so-called trickle-down economics. Clearly, this PNM government is not so minded to ensure the industry is for all, because this bill protects the big people, presents opportunities for the big companies to take advantage of this burgeoning industry while pushing out the small man and the existing people who do not have the wherewithal to fight. However, We see clauses like this in the Acts of Barbados, St. Vincent, to protect small farmers, small people, and moving on up, also providing fairness through the system, as each person will have to pay their weight for their licenses and so on. We see it in the Acts of Barbados and St. Vincent, in which classes or tiers of licenses are granted for cultivation and processing, according to the areas of lands being utilized for each activity. Of course, the ramifications of this are evident in ensuring that businesses, persons, entrepreneurs are not forced to unfairly compete for licenses, and also that a fair fee structure is put in place. In Barbados, for example, in respect of a cultivator license, the area of land for Tier 1 shall be no more than 1 acre. Tier 2 shall be no more than 1 acre, but shall be more than 1 acre, but no more than 5 acres. Tier 3 shall be more than 5 acres, but no more than 25 acres. Tier 4 shall be more than 25 acres. And this bill, this law in Barbados then made the requisite, put the roadmap and the skeleton structure for the authority then to fix fees, fines, and payments for licenses, which did not give any benefit to one group over the other. In St. Vincent, the Act, we see similar classifications. To put it in sports terms, these stipulations ensure that everybody gets a chance to sweat, not just the fellas with the expensive boots, uniform, and who come with the ball, but everybody that wants to play can get a chance. But not this PNM bill. This bill is cutting track for elite Guti to run. The fact is, this bill stipulates only the most basic of criteria for applying for licenses in the first place. Section 31 states a person who is A, 18 years of age or older, A1 is a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, 2 is a permanent resident of TNT, 3 is a citizen of a CARICOM member state other than Trinidad and Tobago, or B is a company, firm, partnership, or cooperative society, may apply for a license under Section 29(1). These are the basic criteria. What I found interesting, however, is Section 33. A company, firm, partnership, or cooperative society shall not be eligible for a license unless at least 30% of the company, firm, partnership, or cooperative society is owned by the persons referred to in subsection 1A. Is this not giving the advantage to international firms, entities, over our own people, especially given the snail's pace at which this PNM government is moving, even compared to our own CARICOM neighbors? Furthermore, are we also saying that licenses can be granted to companies that are 70% international, 30% CARICOM, and 0% Trinbagonian? That's what this bill allows, which it does not protect our local people at all and must be amended. Because the Caribbean has moved ahead of us. There are companies and entrepreneurs who have been preparing, who have earned dollars, who have stores of capital ready to invest, while our people are standing naked, ready at the starting block. So they must correct that and amend that to protect our locals, because while we love CARICOM and we are brothers, we must first be our brother's keeper before we get to the extended family. And 30% CARICOM and 70% international in Trinidad and Tobago will be totally unfair to those Trinbagonian entrepreneurs or cultivators or those who have to compete in this business. So I would like to recommend an amendment there. Also, in some of the processes, as we have seen globally, the sort of technology that is needed in order to get the higher values and higher products of the oils and so on, it requires a lot of 24-hour lighting and so on. Energy costs are extremely high. CARICOM neighbors, their energy position and energy cost is higher than us currently, even though this government is trying to bring us into competition by dropping prices on us and increasing costs here. We still, when we're born here, there's oil and gas, and our energy costs are still subsidized by the government. So if we allow people to come in here to access our local subsidy and subsidized energy to create a higher product, while our locals do not benefit, we have to protect our local economy and not allow people to come in here and take advantage and put our citizens at risk. Furthermore, in cooperatives, as we know cooperatives, the board is selected by one man, one vote. It is quite possible that cooperatives, a foreigner with large resources, capital resources, could come in and encourage and use politics to get to the helm of a corporate society, to take place, to take part, and to make super profits by getting themselves elected to the board. We must amend and put in some protections for our people to ensure that the cooperative board is above 70% local and does not allow foreigners to just take over and become elected to cooperatives and thereby get access to our state resources, land, and cheap energy. I read this bill over and over. I searched for the Rastafarian faith in it, but I could not find it. Is it that the PNM government wishes to ignore the deep wisdom, philosophies, and doctrines of the faith and focus on the Pomsite Rastas, who among us who wear the hairstyle, promote and encourage and enhance Babylon system while feigning to be Rasta? We need to understand and put clearly what we are doing, how we are doing it, what requirements are there, or else everybody will be converting in order to take part of a loophole in this legislation. This is a pick and choose government. My band Despas get 14 million for their pan side, not on the hill, but down on the flat. While I am happy that my pan side got assistance, no assistance for Woodbrook Playboys, no policy in place. No one knows how do you get 14 million to build a pan theater or to create an avenue for investment in the future of pan. So while I am happy selfishly as a supporter of the Despas, I want to know what's the policy. The government of Trinidad and Tobago must operate on a policy and not on a pick and choose. We see bursaries rather than scholarships. That pick and choose. We see protection for local pasta but not local snacks and cereal. That is pick and choose. We need to operate on policy so that everyone can benefit. Pick and choose who gets land in Couva, no policy. Pick and choose who gets recusal from cabinet,
Mr. Vice President,
no policy.
46
This
one,
is
please.
yet another pick and choose bill. Membership of the authority, pick and choose. Religious group of groups, pick and choose. The labs, import, export, pick and choose.
Senator Roberts, Standing Order 46-1, as it applies to relevance to the topic at hand. You have been going exceptional so far. Let's stick to the...
I must say you have been going exceptional also. Thank you. The Prime Minister is a proponent of trickle-down economics. It has espoused on the infamous interview on CNC3's Morning Brew with the then host Natalie Legault in 2020. The Honorable Prime Minister stated, the rich must get richer and that will trickle down. We have not been seeing the trickle down. Unlike WASA, the trickle down has no leaks. It is sticking up at the top and there is nothing flowing down to the ground. The Prime Minister and the PNM believe in a new society where the people must wean themselves off of the government. Well, this bill is a new society bill that is designed to allow the elites and the rich to get richer while others will not benefit. As a member of the PNM cabinet, their family members already have advanced notice of the opportunities and the form it will take. We saw this in 2017. This is unfair, and the Constitution must be upheld, and every citizen must have an opportunity to take advantage of the resources and opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago, and let merit prevail. This PNM government seems to be averse to merit, and this must stop. I would like to tell the PNM to stop. Enough is enough. I must say, however, that I was not very surprised at the overall incompleteness of this bill. After reading it in yesterday's Express, an interview with the Honorable Prime Minister Keith Christopher Rowley, he imagined we are only now 7 years behind Jamaica, 4 years behind St. Vincent, 3 years behind Barbados, among others, debating this bill. Once again, failing to get on board early because of lack of foresight and planning by this PNM government and the Prime Minister of this country. Instead of proactively formulating a strategy for Trinidad and Tobago's cannabis industry to catch up and to compete, he is skeptical of the role that we can play in an industry of that nature, given the kinds of competition that we are up against. This is cowardice in the extreme. He went on to wonder and wonder. Well, let me quote the Honorable Prime Minister from yesterday's Express newspaper. He said, "I wonder what kind of industry small states like ours can have once it's opened up like that." Even saying he went on to say he's not overly optimistic, while he's cautiously optimistic that we can have a little niche in it. Could you imagine coaching an athlete for the Olympics with such a defeatist, negative attitude? Your licks would surely be booked. In a global industry that is growing at such a rapid rate and is expected to be valued at over $50 billion US by 2030, an industry where we have favorable resources, including innovative and entrepreneurial people, land, climate, cheap energy, and social acceptance. But instead of focusing on creating legislation that spawns innovation, entrepreneurship, employment, profitability, and allows the population to dream of greatness and compete with our counterparts wherever they may be in the world, without applying any kind of research, consultation, interest. These are the statements of the leader of the nation, the leader of the executive, and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. This does not fill me with optimism, hope, and the desire to move forward. And I can see it illustrated in this bill here today. This is a defeatist bill and an elitist bill, which does not allow us to compete globally. Is it any surprise then that we asked to debate this bare bones bill here when the PNM government has failed to get on board early and capitalize on first mover advantages? Is it any wonder with this kind of leadership that our industries, businesses, economy are suffering? I will give the Honorable Prime Minister credit, though, for being self-aware enough to state in the article that it is not something he has any experience in, and he is simply an administrator, as his total and complete lack of understanding of and interest in the industry and in the sectoral planning was totally glaring, as illustrated today with this bill. But I do await his diversification into granite, shale, and stones to fit his qualifications and experience. In wrapping up, I would like to reiterate that I believe this bill needs to be amended to ensure that persons who are formulating the country's policies and devising the framework for the industry are not skeptical wanderers, nor political pawns put in place to ensure that the rich get richer. It is my position that the legislation must stipulate that the board members are adequately qualified and able to represent the positions, perspectives, and paradigms of business, society, international trade, the law, ethics, medicine, international standards, among others, with a view to ensuring that the interests of our people are protected and that opportunities are there for all who wish to participate in the sector. It should not and cannot be that we sit here today to pave the way for nepotism and control by a few, instead of charting a course that is fair and equitable, especially for those who have been fighting for these opportunities for decades. We must ensure that the cannabis industry in this country does not embody the following lyrics by Mark Anthony Myrie, also known as Buju Banton. And he said, them a issue out the license to wrong section. Now factor ghetto people them where suffer so long. And at the ganja this way everybody run from. Now look a swarm me bare politician and uptown who's wasi businessman. And them now remember the Rasta when in a the dungeon. When them suffer and prosecute as ganja man. From Coral Garden straight down to St. Anne. We hope that the PNM will see about the people who can provide the opportunities, expert, and create opportunities for their children to create more equity in the society by this new industry, rather than going down the same old PNM road of elite, rich get richer.
Senator,
Thank
you
you.
have 5 more minutes.
Yes, I will take it. I said thank you for the 5 minutes. Yeah. Thank you for the 5 minutes. It will be remiss of me in this little extra time if I did not thank the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry for sharing her Google search on all different types of jobs in a medical cannabis sector and all the types of cannabis plants and so on and so on. Maybe she should share her Google search with the Honorable Prime Minister so that he too could get on board with some intelligence, strategic planning for the betterment of Trinidad and Tobago. I look forward to the amendments, Mr. President, and it was so nice talking without interruption. May God bless you. Thank you.
Minister of Tourism and Culture.
Rich get richer.
Senator,
Thank you.
have 5 more minutes.
Yes, I will take it. I said thank you for the 5 minutes. Yeah. Thank you for the 5 minutes. It will be remiss of me in this little extra time if I did not thank the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry for sharing her Google search on all different types of jobs in a medical cannabis sector and all the types of cannabis plants and so on and so on. Maybe she should share her Google search with the Honorable Prime Minister so that he too could get on board with some intelligence, strategic planning for the betterment of Trinidad and Tobago. I look forward to the amendments, Mr. President, and it was so nice talking without interruption. May God bless you. Thank you.
Minister of Tourism and Culture.
Rich get richer.
Senator,
Thank you.
have 5 more minutes.
Yes, I will take it. I said thank you for the 5 minutes. Yeah. Thank you for the 5 minutes. It will be remiss of me in this little extra time if I did not thank the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry for sharing her Google search on all different types of jobs in a medical cannabis sector and all the types of cannabis plants and so on and so on. Maybe she should share her Google search with the Honorable Prime Minister so that he too could get on board with some intelligence, strategic planning for the betterment
Dogla
of
Radio is now on U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio, Monday to Friday, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. with Anil Roberts, bringing you the facts on politics and up-to-date information. Also taking your calls on 218-7762.
Blessing. So that was the Honorable Anil Senator Roberts coming to you live from the Senate, winding up his discourse in relation to that bill. So welcome to U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Dogla Radio. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, today is just as good as any other day. Today is good as any other day. So much to talk, so much to walk, and so much to act. So first and foremost, let's get right into today's proceeding. Thank you, Senator Roberts, for your contribution. Well articulated, and I am certain going forward we will be hearing a lot more from the Honorable Senator Roberts. Ladies and gentlemen, last week Friday, Jeffrey and myself was summoned to the area of Ikakas. We were summoned there simply because the people of that area continue to be suppressed. They continue to suffer. And coming out of that, they have no water. Among other things. So they have no water. They have no playground. They have no facility in terms of securing their engines and mending their nets. They have no water, as I said before.
Don't forget the community center, you know.
Right. No community center. I'm talking, but I was finding a post there at the same time because I had to read this post just now.
That getting me mad, you know. I'll mash up that phone, you know, Victor.
All right. So they have no community center. They have no play park. They have no fishing facility, even though the Ikakas is heavily dependent upon the fishing industry to survive. Also, ladies and gentlemen, the refining of the coconuts, where they make coconut oil and so on, that too was hindered as a result of the continuity in relation to the sufferation for a lack of representation by a member of parliament who I now consider to be a joker. So let me read this. MP Kennedy Richards Jr. Friday at 1:45 p.m. This is his post.
Yeah.
It was brought to my attention, Kennedy said. Let me just silence this phone here, Corky. Yes. That is important, right? It was brought to my attention, Kennedy said, that protest action has been, and listen this, listen how all of these individuals behave in a particular way. And not only behave in a particular way, they blame a particular group of people for their failure. So Kennedy is saying that protest action has been staged by certain opposition politicians insidious. You hear where you going with it? Yes. You hear where you going with it? So you leave out the residents. But let me finish the post and then I will come back to that. I would like to condemn this action, Kennedy said, and make a humble appeal to these politicians that representation means communicating with the relevant authorities to provide assistance to the residents. Representation, Kennedy said, is not about playing with the emotions of people. Rather, it is to improve and to empower. Further, through my constant communication with WASA, please see the attached bulletin of the water restoration and also note the truck-borne water service is in the community to provide relief upon request. Member of Parliament for point 14. Mr. Kennedy, let me start by telling you that I now add you to the list of idiots who sit in the Parliament. I add you to the list of clowns who sits within the Parliament. Because if the residents of Ikakas who continue to suffer because of your incompetence, and you could say that this protest is UNC politicians that come into the carcass to stage this protest, then you are a bigger idiot than I thought. I always believe that some of the black men from South have common sense. I always also believe that there is educated people in South. But when I see and I hear people like you who speak because of your failure and believe that your failure can trickle down to us who stand up for representation, then you are a clown, Mr. Kennedy. Victor Roberts is saying to you that you are a political clown. You are saying that you are in constant communication with WASA. I want to ask you, Kennedy, today, how long the people of Ikakas is without a supply of water? And I want you to tell us, lower down, how much years that these people are without pipe-borne water. So you are communicating with WASA for more than 2 to 3 years. And since you in communication, what you believe? That because you communicating, water will fill their taps, water will fill their tank, they will have water to do the necessary chores on a daily basis. They will have water to keep themselves clean and to send their children to school. They will have water to provide food for their children. Kennedy, let me tell you something. All you're so incompetent that even the language that all you utilize, that and all represent the true attitude of all your incompetence. That is what it represents. Because all you Maclashe and all you who down in South, who continue to use the people like a spanner, a ratchet, to stay in power and to utilize their votes to give Rowley an opportunity to run this country. But yet to the end of the day, when it comes to representation and delivering to the people, to the burgesses of Ikakas and other areas, rural areas, all you just come to social media and put a post out there and believe that that post will fulfill the people's needs. All you is idiots, Kennedy. Failure. That is what you are. A political failure. Another tool of the PNM. Another tool of Keith Rowley. Just being there to vote for Stuart Young and Alwari and Sinanan and the rest of them to recuse themselves to benefit from the public purse, when the people who need a basic commodity as water in Ikakas, they continue to go unclean. That is what y'all do. So don't feel that a social media post and you attacking us who come down to the Ikakas to lend support and to assist the people in the community, don't believe that you can deter us, Kennedy. You can deter us better than you, because all you continue to fail the people that put all you in office. And it's about time that the people within those communities see you folks for what you are. It is about time the people in these community, Point Fortin and Labre, it is about time all you wake up and see the brutalization of these politicians against you, the people. This is worse than the pedophile report. They continue to abuse you, Point Fortin and Labre. And in some case, it seems as though that some of you like the abuse, because you cannot tell me that Point Fortin and Labre, who continue to suffer the most in Trinidad and Tobago, who continue to suffer for proper representation, and all you continue to vote a party because all you believe that the party resemble all you believe that those who they select to represent all you carry the same texture like all you. Boy, Point and Labre constituency, let me tell you something. All you could remain so if all you want. Remain so if all you want. Because all you contribute to this situation that Point and Labre now find themselves in. All you play a major part in that contributing factor for those two constituencies to be dilapidated, to be without pipe-borne water. And Ikakas is not only alone buying water. Palo Seco does buy water. Santa Flora, certain areas, does buy water. But this is what all support. This is what all support. It is about time the people in these constituencies experience what true and proper representation is all about. All you have Kennedy and McClashy in Labre, who is some minister of labor. Minister what? Minister what? What all you get? What work all you get? What they doing for all you? Boy, look, all you wake up in these areas. Ikakas, I commend you folks for the stand that you all take last Friday. And I am telling you, it is about time all you intensify that type of action, not only in Ikakas but throughout this country. Because we are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, that this government, not only this government continue to punish you, but this government continue to rob this country of its resources, of its wealth. Robbery with a vote, robbery with an agreement, robbery with 1, 2, 3 or 4 men walking out of cabinet at certain intervals while they benefit millions of your money. Today I was Gaspy Dolly, I coming to you just now. I deal with Kennedy first. So Kennedy, let me tell you something, brother. I thought when you and McClashy ride my van the last occasion, I tell myself, well boy, all you will get some sense. I thought all you will get some sense. I didn't know all you just want to encourage me to come across on the PNM side. All you do want to encourage me to go nowhere. I was there, Kennedy. I was there, McClashy. I know the failure. I see the neglect. I understand the abuse. What we are calling you people to do is to deliver, because if Olia was delivering to Ikakas, you think the people would have stand up to call a protest? Let me pick sense from nonsense. You think the people will lead any protest if you are delivering to those folks? You remind me of Fitzgerald Hines. Hines say some UNC went down in the beat them and stimulate a protest. But Hines, while on that, I keep asking you, Hines, if your wife was giving out government vouchers and government hampers during the pandemic, and I tell you Southwestern, and Southwestern was too big, I tell you Santa Flora, well, I realize you're not unsigned, so Santa Flora too big, so I'm going to narrow it down inside Jacob's settlement. I'm making it easy for you. I want you to tell us if your wife was giving out government vouchers to a religious organization inside a Jacob settlement. And let me help you. Inside they only have about 4 religious organizations. So I'm breaking it down. I'm breaking it down small. Tell us if she was giving out government vouchers, where she get, how she get, who authorized it. Don't play in here. You're hearing very well. So I break it down. The last time I tell you Southwestern big. I tell you Santa Flora small. But I'm narrowing it down today inside a Jacob settlement.
And you say 4 religious organizations.
And it's only 4 religious organizations. You pick one. Find out. You see, all you could run, but all you can't hide. All you could run, but all you can't hide. So I'm helping you out there. Jacob settlement. When I come back, if I ain't get an answer, when I come back, then I will tell you where the organization is situated. And then I will tell you more. I ain't ready yet. But Kennedy, let me tell you something, Mr. Man. Let me tell you something. You, Kennedy, is the person that the people elect. Why did they elect you into office? Let me see if I can help you. The people elect you into office because they believe, from what you uttered, that you may be the ideal person to bring some kind of relief to them. That is one. I ain't talking about the fanatics. I ain't talking about them. Because you could put a load of a goat tutu in some areas, and the fanatics voting for that. So I ain't talking about them, Jeffrey. All right? I'm talking about them who he was able to convince to stand up with him. So the people believe that you, based on your utterance, would have made their standard of living much easier. They would have seen some sort of development taking place. They would have had the basic necessity within the constituency of Point. That is what the people and they were looking for. They believe that employment would have come back to Point 14. They believe that some sort of regeneration would have taken place within the LNG system in Point 14.
And they look up the Kennedy as a young person. A young person.
You hear what my friend say? They look at you as a young person filled with ideas and very enthusiastic about displaying your knowledge and helping Point to grow. But I sure by now what the people continue to see is nothing more than PNM deception. PNM deception. I would not bring Labre into that. And I will tell you why. Labre get accustomed with delusion and deception. They continue to support delusion and deception. But thank God I see the people in Point 14 constituency, namely Caucus, starting to show the rest of Point 14 what needs to be done. Let me say it again. Starting to show the rest of Point 14 what needs to be done. Because we live in there. We live in there. We in the constituency, Point and Labre, the two constituency, not only neighbor, we intermingle. People from Point come and hustle in Labre. People from Labre go Point and hustle. We mix up. Man from Point married girl from Labre. Man from Labre married girl from Point. It mix up. We intertwine. We tie up together. One failure is two failure. Two failure is one failure. McClatchy failure, Kennedy failure. Kennedy failure, McClatchy failure. But the people of the Caucus village in Cedars, they have demonstrated what needs to be done to fix the problem in this country. And therefore, I am calling on Labre. I am calling on you people in Labre today to take pattern from the people of Ikakas village in Cedars. Take a little pattern and let we fix the thing. So Kennedy, let me tell you something, brother. You could brand us, you could paint us, you could disguise us. Let me help you. I am a proud member of the UNC. I'm helping you with that. But let me also tell you this. Any part of Trinidad and Tobago, people call for help. People call for their plight to go public. We will be there. We will be there. Because let me tell you something. Representation is something that have to come to this country. Not represent we self like the PNM accustomed doing. Representation is what we will continue to lobby and to expose until it happens. Because the people of this country suffer too long under this PNM. So I'll leave you there for now, Kennedy. Alright? But I just letting you know, I put you in the book as a clown. I put you in that book. Your book now going on in the book with Hines and Stuart Young and Alwari and all of them. I put you down in my book. I have a bookmark, Idiots. I put you inside there.
Yeah, but for doing the correct thing, this man label we as pirates.
Yeah. Yeah.
As pirates. I couldn't sleep the night. The calling. I said, boy, we had to go down there in the morning. We had to go. These people and them for 27 years. For 27 years, them have a water issue in Cedars. In the Amatafak, in the Caucus. So you come in here with this nonsense post. You post on Facebook to say, well, oh, you in constant communication for how long? 27 years? Yeah, he's a liar, boy.
Idiot!
That's what going on with you. You come in to say, well, part of the representation is to tell the people that, to inform the relevant authority. You understand? For 27 years, they have been suffering down there. They have been informing the relevant authorities. And here what they're doing, they're trying to set them up for them to buy water. I don't know if some of the people in Wassa are people who are trucked down there. So they decide to shut off the water. And the people down there have to buy from them. I don't know if it's a big conspiracy that's taking place. Because some people certainly can't get nothing because some of them say they're not paying no Wassa bill because they're having problems with water. So I don't know what's going on with you, Kennedy, but
you talking about protesting staged by UNC
by you
politicians. Yes, you are idiot, boy. You are a real idiot, yes. But I don't know what's going on, I don't realize what happens. There's a bunch of idiots in this government.
But let me tell you something now. Just now, let me tell you something. Stop letting people call my phone. You understand? And not taking down the video. And that is what it is.
And it have more to come, Kennedy. We're going for the break and we'll come back.
Time has come. New 97.5. Make it your choice. Something for everyone. 97.5 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
New 97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners.
Farbinge Expo at the White Tent opposite Medford gas station, Shogunas, will be closing on Monday, May 23rd. Check out our unique bridal collection or even dresses to attend the wedding, handicrafts, footwear, jewelry, furniture, and so much more. All in one store. Perfect place for Mother's Day shopping and outing. Enjoy delicious authentic Indian food at Tandoori King, Star Hakka, and Dosa Diner. Newly opened Bombay Chaat, Pani Puri, and lots more. Farbinge Expo opposite the Medford gas station, Shogunas. Check us out. We're open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.
La Penca and Bees Hi-Fi presents Return to Real Rock Sunday, 22nd May, time 5 p.m. Featuring the Anarchists, Code Black, and Life Force together with Bees Hi-Fi. We gonna rock. Come on down to La Penca Sunday, May 22nd, 5 p.m. Tickets only $50. For tickets, please call Bees 779-1663, Code Black 359-1843, Anarchist 385-4315, or La Penca 373-3453. Return to Real Rock.
The Grand Coulon Spa Resort at Stonehaven Bay, Blackrock. Bed and breakfast rates available. To book, call 283-2597 or 463-2946. The Grand Coulon Spa Resort at Stonehaven Bay, Blackrock.
What goes in is a local something that makes it all taste better. It's the flavor of our culture. Come from here, come from there, and everywhere. It's the special flavor that's made us savor at the Royal Castle. Oh, come the Royal Castle. Royal Castle. Flavor to the bone. Royal Castle. Taste the very own. Royal Castle is the local something that makes it all taste better. Taste the unique flavor of our culture at Royal Castle.
Come to the Waves Restaurant and Bar, Grafton Beach, Blackrock, Tobago. Great ambience, fantastic prices, all COVID protocols observed. Full premium bar available. Call Waves at 731-4646 to make your reservation. Come dine with the Waves Restaurant and Bar, Grafton Beach, Blackrock, Tobago. You must be vaccinated to dine in.
The local Palooza show and countdown.
Now showing on MCTV.
Hosted by TNT's rock ambassador, Bees Hi-Fi, the metal merchant. See and hear all your favorite local rock bands. Keep it rock alive.
Rhythms Communications Network.
Local Palooza show and countdown on MCTV. The local Palooza show and countdown.
Now showing on MCTV.
Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3 Andrew Lane, corner Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Andrew Lane, Derby, Mousica.
Opening hours.
Saturday 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Sundays 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. When you think about fresh produce and good quality food, come to Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3 Andrew Lane, corner Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Andrew Lane, Derby, Mousica.
Dogla Radio is now on U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio, Monday to Friday, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. with Anil Roberts. bringing you the facts on politics and up-to-date information. Also taking your calls on 218-7762. Douglas Radio on U97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Get ready for the revolution. Come on, what you say now?
Sponsored by Royal Castle.
We are back. So we'll take some calls in just a little bit. We'll take some calls in a little bit. Hold the line. Gaspy Dolly, Minister of Education. Well, I put you in the book of a long time. Idiot is you also. You in that book. You don't worry. I put you in that book. Last week Friday, Koki, I deal with all them Friday issues first. Because I commented some other issues just now. I and a few students went to the Ministry of Education in San Fernando. Jeffrey was also there, along with a couple other people. We went there with placards saying, "Stop school violence now." One student had a placard which state "Help." The next student had a placard marked "Save," and the last one had a placard marked "Us." So they were saying, I had a placard saying "Stop school violence now," and they were saying, "Help save us." And coming out of that, we were discussing with Ivan Tulsi where the violence that is at a level throughout the country. But in Separ West, where one of my sons attend, who was also attacked when he was in Form 1, coming out of that, there were incidents where one parent child received 6 stitches to the head, and there were another incident where a youth man was cut on his hand. Yes. Well, I don't know if they find the word "stab" song too radical. So probably cut on his hand might be a better statement, but it matters not to me is violence. So the principal said that he's not aware that anybody gets stabbed in the school. Fair enough. And there was also where I said that there is drugs, marijuana selling on the school compound. Gaspy Dolly denied that outright. There is no drug selling at the schools. I want to tell Gaspy Dolly, it seems that though that she living in a soap water bubble. Inside of the bubble. That is what it seemed like. Because Jeffrey, as far back as you could think, I mean it more rampant now than ever. But as far back as you could go, Jeffrey, I sure you could remember the days when joint, you remember they used to have joint? Marijuana joint and thing? Selling in school, selling outside the school. Coming out of that, they even come with other laws, amend laws that they make. Anybody caught selling marijuana anywhere around the school will be charged for trafficking.
That is true.
Right? You remember that, Corky?
Yes, so why does it have something like this and they will say it didn't have that for?
Because there's natural idiots and they want to believe and mislead the country that everything is well at our nation's schools. But it is going on.
So why saying that ain't happening for?
Because I just tell you, you see, they want to send a narrative out there that all is well at the nation's schools. Corky, from I don't know what.
Yeah, but let me show you. Let me tell you something, Victor. I ain't tell you before, but I am in the possession of some pictures with school children smoking marijuana, with about 15 of them. So in the school, close on the school compound.
In the school.
And I go release it,
Nah, don't release it.
Don't release it?
Nah, hold it because children.
All right.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Corky. Corky, my son, when he was in Form 1, they going down to the hill in Sipar West, there's an area that they call the block.
Right.
And you could only go there if you're going for marijuana.
Right.
Now, my son Joshua, and I call him the name because that is my son. Joshua is a strong person. He have a strong personality. And in the school, a teacher could tell Joshua, don't go there. He won't go. But students cannot ban Joshua and tell him he can't pass there. Joshua will pass there.
He going and pass.
He going and pass. But I have a policy where I always tell my children, look, once all you fight in school, when all you reach home, know that all you have some other fighting to do. Because I send you to school to fight. I am going to get a belt and straighten you behind. Because I send you to school to attack people, children. I send you there to learn.
Yeah.
I send you there to get a better education than me. I send you there to make me proud. That is what I send you there for. That is why I pay me money. So I always, from kindergarten, I always tell the teachers that my children feel free to give them a couple spank.
Yeah.
You can't brutalize them, but I tell teachers, I say, you see the bottom? That is yours. 3 or 4 strap, can't hurt. That is yours. I sanction that. One or two teachers say, well, Mr. Roberts, we appreciate that, but we still can't hit the children in school. I say, okay, fine. I go to the principal. I say, principal, my son, my daughter, I send them here. I giving you the authority to instill discipline because you see, Corky, my children spend more quality time in school than with me.
Yeah.
So let me explain that to those all who can't understand.
Yeah.
When my child get up in the morning, my children, a matter of fact, they get up, they do their little chores, and they prepare for school. Mommy will prepare the breakfast and so on, and send them off to school. When they go to school, they reach in the school from just about 8 o'clock, Corky. And they in school 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock. 8 hours. When them come home in the evening, is to do their homework. Do whatever little chores they had to do again. And then hit the sack. They go to bed. So they're spending more time in the school with the teachers and the principal on a daily basis than with me. Because the time they're going to spend with me is sleeping.
or just 2 minutes before when they get up in the morning and the evening.
Exactly. So I say, principal, these are my kids. And I am asking you to help me install and to maintain a certain level of discipline in these children that they could make your school proud and they could make the parents proud.
Yeah.
Principal said, Mr. Roberts, I appreciate that. I am going to look after that.
All right.
And my children, they are well disciplined. Let me tell you something. You could go to any one of these schools that my girls and my boys and them, some leave school already and some still going. And the principal will tell you point blank that, Mr. Roberts, these children, well, 2 was in one school at a time. Joshua and Omar was in the same school. And he'll say, I am saying to you that these children well disciplined. I don't have no problem with. A matter of fact, I just let Joshua and Omar help me to pick out the troublemakers in school. You understand what I'm saying? So, when I hear Gaspy Dolly, so I was getting the story with Joshua. So Joshua passed, and they hit Joshua some bellas, and they hit Joshua some slap and so on. Joshua went to the principal. The dean get involved, and they summoned me to the school. I went to the school. The principal tell me, Victor Roberts, that this school is in real trouble because there are children that they send to the school that shouldn't be in school at all. And I could give some code name for some of them. You understand? And the principal said that they had to call the police in at many times because of the conduct and the behavior. A matter of fact, teachers was also attacking security guards.
Yeah, well, you see it.
But I am telling you, but to the end of the day, welcome, caller.
Good day, Mr. Victor. But I was listening there just now with the seizures and all that down there, and I find for being in power whole 7 years, you know what I mean? I know when you take over any organization, the first thing you just do is do an assessment. You do a little database where you are, where you have to do what outstanding. And I find they've been taking so long. I mean, Marvin Gonzalez, I mean, I don't look at them as that bad, but for some reason, like, you know, it's accessible and decide what to do. If we have to put up some money and buy some lines or pour water, decide what we have to do. It doesn't make sense to sit down and you just split talking about. Now, this school thing, I know, watching on the news this CNGG, where some children, some community center, and somewhere, I didn't get it about it. And then Ms. Gassi Dolly says she had to visit the school. You know, I want to say something, No matter which, I mean, the UNC, for some reason or somehow, they managed to kind of got some school buildings going. But at the end of the day, you see that school building thing? I don't think that should be under no minister, because you're looking at over 700 buildings. They're the only institution in the island that have maintained over 700 buildings with sharing transfers in the buildings. Remember, when you share transfers in a building, they go flush a toilet 4, 5, 6 times. Let me be practical. They need to have a special committee organization handling school building. Principal and education care, like too much a headache. We know the thing we're going to build. That's my suggestion moving forward in that area, because it's a challenge for all the how the system structure. That challenge right through. They had brought EFCL, but then EFCL for some reason. Another thing to it. They need to, you see, all them corporation. It could be corporation to maintain the schools in the region. So when we build a nice building, we maintain it and we have it going. And you bring in the private sector on board in our school. My children go into a primary school, and you know what we do? We get a database of all the peers. We know most contractor, we have no plumber, we have electrician, and watch me. We organize ourselves. That's certain thing we couldn't touch. That was out of our school. But any little minor thing, don't think we fix it, because we're waiting on. But we try and go to that school. That's one man, bye. Locked on.
Thank you, caller. And welcome, caller.
Good night. Good night to the panel.
Good night. Go ahead, caller.
Good
Make a
night
point.
to Cascade. There is an issue with that same burst pipe in the corner of Springbank Avenue and Cascade Main Road. They have a hole where the washerman went down, about 12 inches deep. And they did the same thing in Julian Trace, by the standpipe, and have the same depths. That when people car go down in the hole, the bumper dragging on the ground. We're trying to assess the filling of the hole and trying to put it on the news day before. And a washerman, Mr. Chotong and Mr. Jones, and the man who seen about Wasa, the minister, passed down and stopped and tried to obstruct swimming of that hole and asked me, Rasta, what are you doing? All you see people walking? It's about 5 months now they dig that hole. And here we asking we, what is all you doing? Trying to put that on the news, and all you see people walking? Where is the work going on in that hole? For 5 months, you have a well in the center of Cascade Road, and the new Attorney General passes there every day. The President of the Senate passing there right through every day. And you go tell me, Mr. Chotong and Mr. Jones, you have Cascade in that dilapidated condition? I want to know if you're really serious in the community of Cascade and seeing things go good in that community. And all you look the river under that same bridge going to fall down just now.
what Mr. Sutton and Mr. Jones doing within the community, seeing about the welfare of the businesses within the community. We cannot accept that at all, at all, at all, at all. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, Thank you, Cascade. So, as I was saying, that Gaspy Dolly is of the view and telling us and telling the press that nothing like that, there is no drugs in school. Welcome, caller. Right, we missed that one. That there is no drugs in school. And I am saying that she had to be living in a bubble. Or probably she's spending too much time educating parliamentarians.
Good night, Victor.
Good night, sir.
Good night, Jeffrey. Good night, Kokiri. Good night, all the listeners.
Good night. Good night.
Gentlemen, sometimes, and the listeners, sometimes what will happen in a million years, sometimes it's happened in a second or the twinkling of an eye. We must not be dismayed or disturbed by that. When he said that rich shall get richer, therefore the poor man doesn't have an opportunity to elevate and be successful, is only certain the oligarchy could hold up. When the oligarchy is gone and there whatsoever and gone, who will hand over the generation? And the poor will always have to stay poor. Doesn't we have an opportunity to elevate, build our business, be successful, attain, achieve, and not be dismayed by this? Why don't he tell the cabinet and his members that right or to struggle and fight for leadership of the party? No, you can't do that because I am in charge. Have a good night, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yes, caller.
Thank you, caller.
Contribution. 218-7762.
So she said no drugs in school. And she had to be living in a bubble because anybody could tell you what is happening in these secondary schools. And these secondary schools, they are out of hand. The minister came down in Southwestern today and she refused to go to Sipar West. She went Sipar East, which is just about 140, 130 meters away from Sipar West. But she didn't go Sipar West. She went Sipar East. She visited one or two other schools in the Sipar area. And it seems as though that the Santa Flora government school, where these children is still operating inside the carpenter shop in Beach Camp, is there she needs to go. She needs to go down there and see where these children is trying to get an education. Welcome, caller.
Right, caller.
Yeah, good night.
You can contribution.
Okay, Mr. Roberts. How are you going?
Fine.
What is the man name, sir?
Jeffrey.
All right, cool. Listen, I watching it all the time. I hearing all the talk. I hearing everything. I'm watching the whole country going. I heard the whole thing that took place in the parliament. There are so many different things that taking place. When you want to know why the children getting on the way they go in schools, because if they was to watch the parliament and they watch the temperament and the demeanor of how people treat each other in parliament, you want to know, well, why?
Yeah.
What doing? Okay, next thing, UNC, we sit down. I love Kamala, but at the same token, why do we sit down and debate in the parliament over when Mr. Colin Imbot and his demeanor is so cold, and then we still approve it? So we have $100 million that nobody has a business name or anything, but we still allow it. We still let it go. We still approve it. So what are we doing at the end of the day? So I just don't know where we're going. So you have to explain that to me, Mr. Roberts, because you know as a man in your corner. So please explain it to me. Thank you.
All right, caller. Thank you. So we will come to that in a bit there because I'll go in with that Faris Alwari thing a little later on. So the point I'm making with Gaspy Dolly is that the schools are totally out of control. And the reason why the schools are totally out of control is because the government is totally out of control. And when you have the government is totally out of control, and the government implement measures to bring the homes totally out of control, because when the government remove employment and send so many persons on the breadline, what do you think will happen? The home will also be out of control. I give a youth a drop today from school, and that youth telling me that he leave home this morning without eating a meal to come to school. He said, we are nothing home to cook by. He said, the thing get real hard. He said, nothing in the house to cook. But I had to go to school. So tell me what kind of environment this government set up for the students in these schools. The students not only frustrated, hunger bring a certain amount of arrogance with it. Hunger bring a certain amount of violence with it. A matter of fact, hunger has even introduced crime.
That is true.
It even introduced crime. So when we at a place where you have secondary children going to school, doesn't have a meal before they go to school, what you would expect with the boy or the girl who have a $20 or $30 in the school?
And the bigger than him, man.
And the bigger than you.
Size.
And the stronger than you. What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen? So Gatsby Dolly, all you haven't got a clue as to how to run this education system. And I have to go back to Kamla Prasad Bisasa. When you go back and see what the partnership under Kamla had done in terms of prioritizing education, in terms of putting education on all the burner, not the front burner, you know, all the burners at the stove, was education, was ease, was grants, was, well, I even want to say laptop because I'm fed up say that. Textbook, everything in education to bring education and to make education not only feasible, but to bring the students to a place where they would be comfortable ascertaining that education. Welcome, caller.
Mr. Victor, I want to ask a question.
Oh, let me take this call.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
Good evening, Victor.
El Socorro, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I'm a very young man, and not too long ago, I was in secondary school. Number one, the secondary school, whether it's prestige or so-called prestige or not, the secondary school has its own political arena. Get what I'm saying? PTA. Remember not too long ago, there was a PTA meeting somewhere in Valencia, and that was to call the police for the election or something like that. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right. So that is point one. The secondary school has a political arena by itself. Right? I'll give you an example. Like, so I have secondary schools at in the Premiership in Intercol. And I have guys who in the school just to play football. And they're making all the... Yeah, yes. Right? They I can from experience. They're making all the trouble. They're making all the comments. They damage all the furniture, all the fighting and things. Right. But they're only there to play football. They're not there for the education. So that's what I mean by political element now. Right? So with the parents, the PTA, who the sponsor the school, which child will get through it, right? So you have that whole problem with that. Second thing with the school system is this, right? Now, as a young man in my early 20s, I was bullied, right? I was just like Victor's son, Joshua. But here I realize as I get older, the problem is not the children, the problem is the parents. Yeah. If you see what's going on with people children nowadays, you would swear that parents now have to write an exam, that they get a license, that they get a psychiatric evaluation, and they have to get them proper family planning before they bring children into this world. So it's not the parents, it's not the children, sorry, it is the parents. Whatever they bring from home is what they bring in the schools.
So the government has nothing to do with it, it's the parents, everything is the parents.
It's the parents, yes. And what they see, and with the parents, is the government that is implementing hatches upon them, like taxes, property tax, standard of living, inflation, no jobs, no opportunities, that kind of thing. It's a holistic approach. It's a holistic approach. So it's not just the government or the children or the resources. It's a whole. It goes to the teachers too. Because I'll tell you why, Victor, I'll tell you why. And Corky. If you notice, right? These same children who take in private lessons, right? So you spend 8 hours in school to learn maths, English, science, social studies, right? And the rest are CSEC subjects. But the same children now, when they leave school at 3 o'clock, they go and take lessons at 4 o'clock, right? To learn back the same subjects that they pay extra money for. And they just do better with that. So why do they learn in schools? You understand what I'm saying? So it's plenty other factors besides that, and that making these children lash out. And again, it's not everybody, it's only a small minority. Another point I'd like to bring up to you, right? You know, there's a lot of people fighting, a lot of students fighting in the streets, especially girls and boys, but mostly girls. Do you know that school bus drivers, the yellow bus drivers, they have not been paid salaries in over a year or 2 years? So if yellow bus drivers, the yellow school bus drivers are not getting paid their salaries, how are they going to transport students from home to school? They have to travel, and that's why they will travel in these groups to form their own gangs and fight and jaywalk in the road and that kind of thing.
Right.
So it's a holistic approach.
Right.
Go ahead, Victor.
So, Elsiko, my point I'm making is this. While it is a holistic approach, it is an approach that needs to be dealt with now. So it is not just saying it's a holistic approach, because of course we know to fix the problem, social development are to get involved, sports are to get involved, national security are to get involved, the parents are to get involved, the teachers are to get involved, everybody are to get involved. But just come in and say everybody had to get involved and nobody ain't getting involved is only when it reached the death of your child or my child, because I saw a parent hit a student a few bellas this week, and I hear all kind of story and I have no comment to make on it. But the fact remains, it will reach a point where people will rebel. So yes, it is a holistic approach, but it's the government prerogative to put the mechanism and the measures in place to deal with the problem. So therefore, it's the government at fault. Because if the government doesn't put the legislation to govern the parents and to bring in social development and have this same holistic approach that you're speaking about, then who will bring it? The parents can do it, the teacher can do it. It is the government responsibility to fix the problem.
I agree with you. In that regard, the government has, what you're trying to say is that the government must lead the way. They must take from the front. That's what the point I'm getting at. So I agree with you, Victor. Point taken. We will have to go from there. And a good place to start is by paying the school bus drivers, employing social workers, getting sports into the schools, getting resources into the schools, identifying children who are not into the books, into more trade and more hands-on, etc. And I have to go from there. School feeding. These are simple and easy solutions. And like I mentioned, rightfully so, it starts with the government, implementation, policy, legislation. You know what I mean? Thank you.
Good. And this is reality, Jeffrey.
No, you say something about the school feeding thing here. I wonder if they cut the school feeding thing.
Yeah, the school feeding cut. But, Jeffrey, it is more than school feeding. Listen what I just say. There is plenty people that you know and I know who doesn't have a meal to come to school. So, therefore, social welfare have to get involved. Right? The social services have to be up and active and not what they're using it to do. Not using it for political mileage. The social service have to be up and running. You will have to visit the homes of these children. You will have to look at the structure of the homes. You will have to see what level of employment, if any, there. You understand? You will have to know if this home needs social assistance in order to provide food. Because let me tell you something. It is not people's fault that they're not working. It is not people's fault that they're not looking for a job. It is the government who take away the work. It is the government that close down, send home, fire, retrench. It is the government. It is the government. Let's just use Labre Point, Faizabad, Siparia, Point-a-Pierre, those areas. The areas of the oil where our family, our parents would have been benefiting, earning an income, providing for their families. Right? When you have people, just look at this madness about this government. You have a whole shutdown system for about 2 years. People not working, people in get grant, whoever all you feel to give, all you give. You open back up schools. People have to get uniform. People have to get books. People have to pay passage. And people not working. So what you expect will happen?
They were thief.
What again? What again? So while we saying this and saying that, it is a situation, as Escoro rightly said, where a holistic approach needs to take place, but it had to start with the home. It had to start inside there. It had to ensure that these children who come in school have something to eat. So you have to go back and do a census. You have to look at those people who register in school. Go and look at the homes. Look at the condition that they're living in. And they will get the root cause of the problem. So while people talking, and people may very well say is a selected few, but it's spreading. Because I saw a fight down in somewhere in Signal Hill today in Tobago. It moving from one place to the next, and that is how it will go until it get out of hand. And that is why we are saying that the ministry needs to step in and do something now. That is why we are saying that the government needs to step in and do something now. What you will wait on till 2 or 3 students get murdered, and then some parent react as the parent who react. And I say I have no comment to make on it. Because Jeffrey, is only when the boots on your foot, you could know how it fit in. Everybody else can only suggest, you know. You ever see a woman walking kind of funny and we laugh and say, what, she wearing a tight shoes, she want to be in style, and we saw she foot squeezing. Yeah. But we don't know. Probably she have a cut.
Well, it could be a corner on she
Probably she have a corner on she toe. You don't know. You understand? So we could only talk from where we sit on the outside. You don't know what a parent go through. You don't know. Jeffrey, I's a serious man with my girl children and them, you know. Very serious. I remember a girl in girls' school touched one of my daughter in the wrong place. And she came home and she tell us, and she said she tell the teacher, and Miss say go and sit down. I said, Miss say go and sit down. A girl touch you which she not supposed to touch you, and Miss tell you go and sit down. Jeffrey, next morning we in school. I want to find out why this girl touched my girl. And why missing find out. You know the community police get involved. And very shortly after, it was proven that the girl's stepfather was touching she. The girl's stepfather was touching she. So I don't take them things lightly. You don't just touch somebody's children and feel that everything is alright. You just can't touch somebody's girl child and feel that you have some kind of authority to do that. You have to get down to the bottom of it. And when the community police get involved, that is what he was before the court. Because the mother used to go to work and leave him to prepare the child to go to school. And that is to tell you the level of sick men, just like them sick men on this report.
So it's a domino effect then. And it play off in an environment where the child is.
Exactly. So she believed it was alright to touch another child in a certain way. But I always teach my children them certain moral principles, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
You don't touch my child and she taking that day, you know. She coming home and tell mommy and daddy, somebody touch me. And then mommy and daddy not taking that. Mommy and daddy going to the school to find out why somebody touched my daughter. You see where it reach? So I'm saying I have no comments to make on that situation with this parent and that child. You hear what I tell you? Because it's only when the shoes on your foot, Jeffrey, people that say all kind of thing. Who do take the call? Welcome, caller.
Hello, good night.
Yeah, good night, sir. Hello? Yes, go ahead.
Make a contribution, caller.
Yes, I call from Tobago and Tobago East.
Yes, Tobago. Welcome to U97.5.
Thank
Radio.
you. As well on the topic, I got experience last month, right? What's going on in Roxborough, Tobago. Right? And I take 2 fellas there to register their name to look for work. Because there's young men, strong men, and they're not working nowhere. You hear me?
Yeah.
In nowhere. So I take them there to register to look for work.
I know what the man tell them. In not registering them because they take no vaccine. And I see some people under work. I know there's not Trinidadian or Tobagoan. There's Venezuelan because I up to today I passed it. They're working by Argyle. They're working by Argyle doing a work there, right? Yeah. And you know, people from country that the work going on is work. They're supposed to employ people from the east under work and they tell them that they're not employing them. What's so important about this job? Hello?
These are the things that the court must decide. You see, that type of discrimination, the court must decide whether the employer right not to register them because he feel that they should take a vaccine or they wrong. The court must decide those situations.
Because I will tell you something. Is these things that make these young men pick up guns and cutlass and come by people and rob them because when they can't get work to do and you're watching people passing with a knife, and they cannot get it. Last time they're a thief. I don't know why they're them. That is not right.
And I agree with you. And that is why I'm saying that the court must decide on this level of discrimination. The court must decide. And that is what you must encourage the young fellas to do, to take legal action against them.
But I don't know. I feel sorry for the president because they have no money to go to work, so I drop them to work through. I make a turn my Pablo and come back. When I come back, I say, oh, look at you. He said, boy, the man say, yeah, register we. They work with the ID card and everything because they ain't getting no vaccine. I said, what's so important about the vaccine? Is work alone looking for all they're going to thief, all they're going to beg is work alone to look for. And I know the boys of them could work it.
Yeah.
Because they're from my village. They're from my village, so I know they could work. You hear me?
Yeah, caller.
So you have a pleasant night.
Thanks for your call and thanks for the information.
When work going on in a village, you have to use villagers.
Well, caller, if they come down by me with any work, vaccine or no vaccine, if they come down by me with a project, I am telling you that people from my village will work. Have to work.
I know it's supposed to be like that. If the boys are going to pick bad and go down and say, well, look, we can't work, nobody can work. Nobody can make say with them, you know. You see, but it's the police that they're afraid. I see a young girl yesterday working, and how one was she working the secretary do very well. The girl making sign on the road, calling vehicle on the corner by the church, making sign and took her all the restaurant. But she working fast away. And people go to the work, they tell them about injection.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Thank you, caller. Thanks for that call, man.
And Victoria telling this Tobagonian boy we should take it to the court. Half of the time we not the money to take it because that's why we looking for the job in the first place. You understand what I mean? So what really going on here, boy?
Jeffrey, I'm saying this for the whole of Trinidad to hear. No work cannot come down in our area and people from the area cannot work. None. They could bring the police, they could bring the army, they could bring Rowley, they could bring Hines, they could bring who they want. Any work come down in my area, the people in my area have to get work. I have no problem. You bring your tradesmen, you bring your skilled men, I have no problem. But you see the labor in work? Boy, people in my area have to. And Tobago, I think that's a very good principle that all you should take up. Work in all your area, all you must get work. Yeah. Must. That have to happen across the board.
And that is not a threat, you know?
That is a reality.
That is a reality.
Yeah.
That is no threat. So don't feel like you could come and say, well, we threatening or you. That is no threat. Or you come in the area, or you bring all your tradesmen, or you do what you have to do, but we need to get work there too.
But how the work could go on if people from there ain't working? People have to get work, Jeffrey. You know what I say, have to. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, this is Cascadia again.
Yeah, Cascade. Go ahead.
It's the same thing it's the same thing has been done in Cascade right here. A community center is being built, and not one soul from the community working on that community center right now. Don't tell me if that is and Mr. Stuart Young making a statement. Don't give them no work because they're going and buy gun with the money. Tell me if a hungry man right now, people living under cloth and sick and can't get food to eat, with piece of plastic hang over it, going to buy gun with the money. But like they really want these and them to go and look for guns in the area and do things in the area, you know. Because when you tell the youth of the area, employment is a right, not a favor. You aren't doing him no right by, no favor by employing him, you know. That is his right, his constitutional right to employ him.
Cascade.
I'm telling you, it is under the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, employment is a right.
Cascade.
I ain't talking nothing that I don't know, you know.
Cascade.
I went through the constitutional, the book, and I know what it is constituted about.
Cascade.
So they can't fool me.
Cascade.
They tell me that,
Right, now wait, listen, man. You see them youths in your area, tell them to grow some fortitude. That's the thing now, you know what I'm talking about. Let me tell you something, Cascade. No community center could build down in Palo Seco. No community center could build in Labre, and people from the area in get work. You hear what I just tell you? Let me tell you something.
I understand it.
It's right. So the youths and them in Cascade had to get up off the butt and ensure that what happening within their community that they benefit. Because let me tell you something. If they're building a community center in Lavanti, let somebody from Cascade go there and see if they will get work now. But people they get serious Cascade.
They allow contractors to turn and them put big galvanized fence and have a contractor behind it with security so that nobody can come inside of it.
Cascade, listen what I just tell you.
But
they could build a stone wall in Palo Seco around a community center.
They're looking for violence within the community. Looking for violence within the community when they do that. They bring a contractor from outside and put him behind a galvanized fence and put a security by the gate.
Thank you.
What is you doing? What is you doing in the community? You're looking for violence and people to get robbed in their houses when they can't get employment. That's what they're doing, you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Cascade. Let me tell you something. They could build a community center in Palo Seco. They could build a stone wall to meet the sky. Hear what I just say. People in Palo Seco will work. Not might. Not if.
I understand.
Will.
I'm going to tell you something. Right about now, first they're sick with themselves, Victor. You know, when they really don't want to give the people nothing, you know, they just bring police, the watchman walk.
They could bring who they want.
Just bring the police.
Brother. Anyhow, we in Palo Seco different. Right? We in Palo Seco different. They could bring who they want, Jeffrey. You hear what I say? Nothing can build in my area unless people get work. That's what I'm saying. And I say it on the radio. And I wish that tease them to bring something to build in Palo Seco. That's all I say, you know, me saying nothing else. Right, so let me move on. Actually, I want you to stand by for 8 o'clock. You have a clip to run from me. I want that clip to run 8 o'clock. We're going to go on that subject. So let me tab this loose end here. Yes. So, Gatsby Dolly, you have a responsibility. And your responsibility is to the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. Not them bestie schools that all they will continue to spend all the money behind the scene on. We always have all the Bishop Tea Party and all that kind of thing. You understand? Sipar West is a school need help. Faizabad Inter is a school need help. You understand? Palo Seco, Santa Flora Government School is a school in desperate need. That is the school we wanted to go and visit. The school that for years the children them in the carpenter shop in Beach Camp. That is what we wanted to come and do. Why the Santa Flora Government School, which is about 89% completed, why it is not completed? That is what you must come down and tell the people. Come down and tell them that. And let me tell you something. I ain't going to tell you. I ain't going to tell you today. But always a bunch of jokers. So I deal with Kennedy. I deal with Gatsby. Stuart Young. Not Stuart Young, man. I deal with you tonight. Faris Alwari. Faris Alwari, I will like you to explain to us about this $100 million that is allocated and the contractor ain't register yet.
100,000? 1 million.
100 million.
Wow!
100 million allocated, but the contractor in register yet.
The business in register.
So I want Stuart. I want him. Why I keep calling him next idiot?
Faris. They just serious.
Yeah, I want Faris to explain that to us tonight. Welcome, caller.
Okay, just quickly, gentlemen, one more time, calling school issue with the children. I think in schools, any child in the secondary school that show violence and all this kind of thing, sometimes they'll be targeted if they are loved by a teacher, not passionate. Love and teachers show keen interest because they show interest in their studies, and sometimes they are threatened by those who see that the teacher showing favoritism because the child is showing interest. They should get that child have a school too and get that child out of there to continue their studies, so they won't be affected by the brutality and the gang warfare taking place out here, because the education is of keen interest. And when they have been attacked or frightened in school, showing deep interest in their education, and they get frightened to come, and they be frightened when school over. They should find a place. So even in the prestigious school, once they're showing valuable intelligence in their education, they should move them from those secondary schools and put them into the prestige schools on them, so to help them elevate. We cannot block them. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. I was looking for a clip here. I thought I work with it, Corky.
Yes.
A clip here with Faris.
A clip?
Yeah, but I ain't have it, man. I thought I transfer it on this device here. But
all right. What was it concerning?
It's a newspaper report.
All right.
A newspaper report, but I ain't transfer it. So tomorrow we'll develop this story. We'll develop this 100 million story some more, because how we like to operate here. We like to have facts when we're talking, right? So we will develop this story some more with this 100 million that is allocated. I believe it's for road repairs or something of that nature. So let me rest that until we have the facts tomorrow, please, Lord.
Right.
So let's take a break. Actually, when we come back, I wanted to play that clip. I wanted to run that clip with Dr. Rudal Munilal for me, please. So we're taking a break and we'll be back. Remember, when we come back, we're going straight into another segment.
Time has come. New 97.5. Make it your choice. Something for everyone. 975 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
Let's take a break.
97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners. Farbinja Expo at the White Tent opposite Medford gas station Shogunas will be closing on Monday, May 23rd. Check out our unique bridal collection or even dresses to attend the wedding, handicraft, footwear, jewelry, furniture and so much more. All in one store. Shopping and outing. Enjoy delicious authentic Indian food at Tandoori King, Star Hakka and Dosa Diner. Newly opened Bombay Chaat, Pani Puri and lots more. Farbinja Expo opposite the Medford gas station Shogunas. Check us out. We're open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.
La Penca and Bees Hi-Fi presents Return to to Real Rock Sunday, 22nd May, time 5 p.m. Featuring the Anarchists, Code Black, and Life Force, together with Bees Hi-Fi. We gonna rock. Come on down to La Penca, Sunday, May 22nd, 5 p.m. Tickets only $50. For tickets, please call Bees 779-1663, Code Black 359-1843, Anarchist 385-4315, or La Penca 373-3453. Return to Real Rock.
Le Grand Coulon Spa Resort at Stonehaven Bay, Blackrock. Bed and breakfast rates available. To book, call 283-2597 or 463-2946. Le Grand Coulon Spa Resort at Stonehaven Bay, Blackrock.
Come to the Waves Restaurant and Bar, Grafton Beach, Blackrock, Tobago. Great ambience, fantastic prices, all COVID protocols observed. Full premium bar available. Call Waves at 731-4646 to make your reservation. Come dine with the Waves Restaurant and Bar, Grafton Beach, Blackrock, Tobago. You must be vaccinated to dine in.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle. From the first restaurant in 1968, when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air, they just couldn't resist. And like never before, fried chicken with a special blend of local seasonings and a one-of-a-kind flavor down to the bone. Today, Royal Castle still have that same delicious taste, and I love it too. The kids can't resist it either. Plus, they have more to enjoy. For me, the castle is more than just nice food. It's we own, part of me and you, and is the real flavor of TNT.
Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3 Andrew Lane, corner Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Andrew Lane, Derby, Mousica.
Opening hours.
Saturday 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Sundays 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. When you think about fresh produce and good quality food, come to Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3 Andrew Lane, corner Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Andrew Lane, Derby, Mousica.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, ladies and gentlemen, still getting some heavy music in the background. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to move across to this beautiful highway of ours. The highway, which should have been completed by now, where you would have been able to sit from Port of Spain and end up straight down in Point 14. That highway I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the mosquito crack, and I ain't talking about all the hiccups in different areas. I'm talking about the highway that's supposed to be completed, where we should have been benefiting from our taxpayer dollar. It seems as though that there is another problem that arises out of the government decision to remove the OAS from that project. That is what I'm saying tonight. And I want our chief, he have it, to run that video for the people of this country to hear what is the latest in this country in relation to this OAS Keith Rowley administration. Our chief, you have it, run it there for we. Because this situation, ladies and gentlemen, you will have a clear understanding that when a government make decision out of haste and out of spite, there is always a consequence. there is always a consequence that will come. And I think that now we recognize that the consequence for the government decision to remove the OAS out of spite, out of malice, out of wickedness, it is now a burden. It now creates a cost on you, the taxpayer of this country. And that is the video that I want you to listen to see and to listen to.
Put it to the government that commission, in light of your billion-dollar loss, Madam Speaker, in light of their billion-dollar loss at the London Court of Arbitration, they must now suspend and dissolve that commission of inquiry into the South Highway and focus on the debt you owe. You owe $1 billion, you want $5 million plus to go now for a commission of inquiry. That is a scandal that will be remembered for 100 years in this country. Today, we could have had a highway all the way to Point Fortin. You could have jumped in a car by Ryson Road, and the next time you saw a traffic light was in Point Fortin. The next time. They stopped it with every, iota of energy they had. And $1 billion we lost in the arbitration, April 16, 2022. That has further implications. You see, OS is also owing local contractors. And you need to look now at the litigation that will arise. If you thought now Malco was joke, you will have to sell about 3 ferry to pay the money you owe now. NIDCO owes to OS. I would just like the Minister of Finance to indicate to us the real debt this country is facing. But the Minister of Finance, I would invite him to speak in his winding up. I believe he's allowed 45 minutes in winding up, to tell us whether he considered, Madam Speaker, an April 16th ruling of the London Court of Arbitration that awarded to the construction company OS $1 billion when this government and NEDCO lost in an arbitration in London on the Solomon Hochoy Highway. Is that $1 billion of April 16, 2022, is that part of your calculation of your declining debt? Because it cannot be part of a declining debt. It's $1 billion. Madam Speaker, today they were saying, the Minister for Energy, he's fond of speaking about the Solomon Hochoy Highway, and I want to get to that Commission of Inquiry because I'm rooting my statement in the Commission of Inquiry matter involving that South Highway, 43 kilometers from San Fernando to Point Fortin. Madam Speaker, that has been announced as a subject of a Commission of Inquiry. This document before us speaks under the Office of the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, to a facility to provide expenditure, fees of $4.3 million, more or less, for commissioners in the Commission of Inquiry into the South Highway, Point Fortin, San Fernando. I will ask the government now to tell us and correct us whether we are wrong that there's an arbitration against this government April 16th on this very highway of $1 billion, because they were right, Madam Speaker, in this arbitration. They were boasting, the Prime Minister is boasting in 2017. He described Minister Young as the Gary Sobers of the cabinet. He negotiated and we got $1 billion back from the bond, and they terminated the contract of OAS, claimed that the partnership government had interfered with the contract to the detriment of citizens. The Prime Minister beat his chest. He said, we went to court under Minister Young guidance, won every single case, we got back $1 billion. Well, Madam Speaker, they lost $1 billion in an arbitration to the OS. Madam Speaker, in this matter, the Prime Minister is saying that the former government changed clause in the contract and so on. The debt the government faced, and I come back to public debt, and this Commission of Inquiry, is $1 billion for the wrongful termination of the contract with OS, the Brazilian company. And that, Madam Speaker, they wrongfully terminated, and other costs they went and lost at a London-based arbitration body. Quite recently, 1 month exactly from this day, and they are owing $1 billion, which they failed to disclose to the people of Trinidad and Tobago in the last 1 month. So we talk about $26 million. It's $1 billion they will not say. And today they sheepishly bow their heads. I think the Minister of Finance is now going under the table. Is he still there? Yes. Madam Speaker, they have now collapsed the country because they have taken an action based on malice. We were constructing the Point 14 to San Fernando Highway. They acted on malice. The Mosquito Creek mashup, that's $80 million gone there, and in an arbitration that goes to the public debt. So, Minister, when you tell us that the public debt is going down, is going down, Madam Speaker, did you include that the contract that you terminated with OS was wrongfully terminated? Wrongfully terminated, that you have to pay VAT. I want to come to VAT because that has been a big issue in this matter. The minister speaking about VAT refunds, and he's coming to us to speak about the importance of refunding on VAT, and he need money. How much money you have to you have to give OS on their claims to VAT arising from wrongful termination, arising from the fact that the government of the PNM acted with malice to terminate that contract. Today, you have taken no decision to set off, I believe is the term, the ruling of the arbitration. You have taken no decision. You now owe $1 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars added to the $850 million you owe Namalco out of the EMBDC judgment. This country has effectively collapsed under the weight of incompetence and corruption and maladministration. The country and the economy has effectively collapsed. Because if you close EFCL because you owe in contractors a few dollars, what you closing when you owe in OS? How much? What you closing? Because, Madam Speaker, in the arbitration, Madam Speaker, OS carried an argument that when the government changed in 2015, this government acted with malice and decided not to pay, simply not to pay them, and then they had to wind up because the government was not meeting and treating with them as per contractual obligations. That is in the arbitration report, and the government has lost it. 7 years later, out of malice, the taxpayer must pay $1 billion more. Is that in your debt? When you say the debt is decreasing, are you saying that the debt is decreasing because of the London Court of International Arbitration ruling? Clearly, you can't be saying that. Mr. Minister of Finance, you cannot be telling us that. In this matter, the Prime Minister praised them in 2017. He said, we went to court under Minister Young's guidance and we won every case. The Gary Sobers of the cabinet. Well, the Gary Sobers just lost $1 billion. He lost the wicket. He lost the wicket. Madam Speaker, the government should resign after the ruling of the London-based arbitration entity. Out of malice, the taxpayer must pay $1 billion more. Is that in your debt? When you say the debt is decreasing, are you saying that the debt is decreasing because of the London Court of International Arbitration ruling? Clearly, you can't be saying that. Mr. Minister of Finance, you cannot be telling us that. In this matter, the Prime Minister praised them in 2017. He said, we went to court under Minister Young's guidance and we won every case. The Gary Sobers of the cabinet. Well, the Gary Sobers just lost $1 billion. He lost the wicket. He lost the wicket. Madam Speaker, the government should resign after the ruling of the London-based arbitration entity. Out of malice, the taxpayer must pay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, all you understanding what taking place in all your country? I am wondering if all you understand what taking place in all your country. The government continue to hide. The government continue to mismanage. The government, the money that we spend. Welcome, caller.
Good night again, Mr. Robert.
Yes, sir.
Please. You see that arbitration that this government lose is a triple whammy, you know. Let me explain. That highway to Point 14 would have caused tremendous development. Both north-south, south-north, people moving and through. So, they have done a disservice to the country. That would have opened up Trinidad. 2, when you terminate a contract like that with international contractors, what it sends to the outside world, we are coming to Trinidad. No
foreign direct investment. That is thick. And the other whammy is, you see, me as a taxpayer, you're putting additional burden on my back for $1 billion. That is the wickedness of this PNM government. They lose it. The only arbitration they settle is the one where right hand pay left hand, right in Trinidad. That's the ENV. They can't win nothing because they're doing everything with malice. You remember the other two contract they mash up? The one for the central hospital? That's foreign. And then the one with all the houses that they keep Shanghai construction for 2,000 units. So when foreign contractors see that, they go say this government only filling the cargo pants. They're studying about the country to move forward and encourage foreign direct investment. And me, they say, I hear Anil say, is minus foreign investment. Everybody running out with the money because it's wickedness of the government and it's suffering people of Trinidad and Tobago are going to have a nice night.
Thank you, caller. But more than that, it's more than putting strain on the taxpayer. It is also creating more hardship on the citizens of the country because right now the government is running at a loss. The government have no clue where to get money. The government lost its way. And when you lose these types of arbitration and have this type of bill to pay, what would eventually happen is the government will have to increase more burden upon the population in order to solicit funds to meet those debts. That is what will happen. So while people still crying, while business shut down, broke down, locked down, while some of those business will never be able to recover, while the government continue to send home people from Petrotrin, TSTT, Wasa coming, Tiantec coming, Port gone, and so on, eventually what will happen is the government will continue to sell out the assets of Trinidad and Tobago in order to meet its demand in relation to foreign debts. That is what will happen. And you, the taxpayer, who believe that everything is nice with you because you have a job, you, the police, and you, the Coast Guard, and you, the Defense Force, and you, the Prison Authority, and you, Immigration and Customs, and you guys who believe that everything is good because your job, that you have a secure job, you wait, you hold on. Some are crying, are working on 20, 30 salary. Well, 2,000 go come and they go still be on that same salary with this government. You see, I am yet to understand, and I keep saying it over and over and over again. What you people want in this country to see what is happening as clear as daylight. You have seen our government without a plan, without a vision. That highway ought to be long completed. And as the caller said, foreign investment, domestic investment, things should be happening, things should be going on in the country. But you know what? Because of the wicked, evil ways of this government, because of the vindictiveness, we are at the place today where we will have to find 1 billion plus. Yet, with the other hardship that the government will continue to implement in this country. That is where we are. And that is what you support. That is what we say, no and take Jeffrey. We quiet. We have nothing to say. We just watching and we believe that this mismanagement will go away. I don't know if we believe that when we say nothing and when we do nothing, that all the bad decisions of this PNM government and Keith Rowley will just go away, and that a fairy godmother will come and will just make things happen in a dynamic way where we could be proud again to be called Trinidad and Tobagonians. I don't know if that is what we feel, but we just sitting down, we just allowing the thing to get worse and worse, and it will eventually reach the point where we will not be able to bring it back. Where we will not be able to bring it back. And this is what the citizens of this country, this is what we are allowing. My question is, why are we allowing this to take place? 218-7762. That is my question. Why are we allowing this to continue in this country without standing up, speaking out, and demanding a fresh election in this country?
Now that little crack on the quick day. Now my mind still composing because it's the first time I see the video.
Right.
I hear Dr. Rudan Munilal says $80 million to that crack that take
Going down the drain.
Wow. 80 million of we taxpayers dollars just going down the drain just like that.
But brother, 100 million going down the drain the other day with a vigilant. 100 million. Welcome, caller.
Good night.
Yes, sir. Good night.
I'm calling from the foreign call.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Welcome.
What I want to say is that Trinidadians like it so. If they didn't like it so, they'll get up and get things done. But they love it so. You know? And they're going to love it so for the rest of their life. Regardless if they eat mud, they drink river water, they will live it that way. Look at, just imagine that they form a company, and project $100 million for that company. Who is the directors, the CEO, and all these things for that company? Is there any at all? Huh? Taxpayers all wake up, Trinidadians all wake up. Smell all the coffee burning, if all have coffee at all. You know, because most people in the morning when they get up, the children starving.
Yeah.
They don't have even a drop of water because water not giving them water. The boys give them children some sugar.
And caller, you say if it are directors, the company is register. So you have.
Well, the company is not registered yet. How could they allocate $100 million? Yeah, well, let me tell you this. That money allocated for Rowley and the boys. You know? They allocate that money for Rowley and the boys. And this imbut that he's an imbut, a shorty. Why the hell he don't go back to Antigua where he come from? You know?
Well, are we in trouble in this country?
Rowley only have these foreigners in his government ruining the people's life. You know? And they should get the hell out of the place. Imbut only laugh and mock everybody. And people don't realize that every time he laughs, is mocking you. Look, I have a property in Trinidad, and I'm not going to pay no property tax on that. Because if Imbut don't pay property tax on what he have, and Faris don't pay property tax on what he have, and Sudan don't pay property tax on what they have, nobody should pay property tax.
Thank you, caller.
They can't affect everybody.
Thank you, caller.
Huh?
I find so too.
Imbut, because all the big boys, all these rich multi-millionaires, they don't pay the property tax. So a poor man must dig out the last penny to pay property tax. How fair it is.
Thank you very much, caller.
You know?
Thank you very much, caller. And caller, you are so right. You are so right. And this is what I cannot understand with us in Trinidad. Yeah, this is what I can't understand, because I cannot understand how people seeing what is happening from the government level, the way in which that they continue to pilfer from the public purse, how they're benefiting themselves and enriching themselves, and yet it seems as though the country comfortable with that. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, sir.
Yeah, I agree with the last caller. Because, why is it? Because the question is, well, we like it so.
Yeah.
Because if we don't like it so, both of them that call and what they call protest over the question over the year of the way the government is treating us. Both of them on election day come, both teachers, police, everybody. most of them go there, we see all the call and protest against. They'll go there and election, vote for PNM.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. They just talk and protest and all, but they just go and vote for the PNM and put back the PNM. So that's why we're in a position to be treated that way. Right, thank you.
Thank you, Kola. And Kola, you're right, because let me tell you something. When you look at, let me just use this analysis here. When you look at
Who's that?
name just slip out my head, yes. The land grabber.
Mama.
He name just slip out my head clean, you know. Anyhow, when you look at these Foster comments, when you look at the special branch report that was sitting there since about 2019 thereabout, just sitting in no man's land, just there. What does that tell you? What that tell you? And today, the people of this country, I hear people talking about Foster come send pre-action protocol letter. And people doesn't even understand the gimmickry in this country. They don't understand it. Let me tell you something. If Foster Cummins had to send a pre-action protocol letter, why he in Senate for the TTPS? Why he in Senate for them? It's them report. The report is them own. Senate for them. But we like so much games in this country. We like so much Mickey Mouse and so much gimmickry that we, the papers and all of them, find a big story for send a pre-action protocol letter. That is the games that they like in Trinidad. Nobody want to investigate the substance. Nobody looking at the report, the substance. Nobody looking to bring all the evidence. But all we like is old talk and dotish talk. And this PNM government, they continue to enrich themselves. They continue to benefit. They continue to make money. They continue to do what they want in this country. And you, the taxpayer, you, the police, you, the soldiers, you that they're using to brutalize your same citizen who's standing up on behalf of you and the country. All you hold on. All you will realize very soon with where the country going that salary that all you're getting will means nothing. It may not even be enough to pay all the bills. All you hold on. When we stand up against the nepotism, the cronyism, the dictatorship, all you come out and brutalize we, man. Come out. All your children will pay the cake. All your grandchildren will pay the cake for what this government is doing. This is about all of us, police and soldiers. What is happening in the country will affect your children too. Take the call. I go come back where I was. Welcome, caller.
Good night, everyone.
Yes, sir. Good night.
That's because the house over there is quiet. Apparently, one-sided, you know. You understand, for the longest while, apparently, she are one-sided. Speaker, you know, because you only just suspend the UNC people. And I suspend a PNM, one of the PNM and them, you know.
She don't have time with that. She don't have time with that.
Huh?
She don't have time with that.
Yes, but like that one-sided thing, by you only the UNC, the ICCC for the longest while. That we see them doing.
Yeah, correct.
Understand? There is suspect of them because like Embut and all of them, Rowley and them too. Because you are one-sided.
Thank you very much, caller. You seen government ministers recusing themselves, millions of dollars, and everybody in this country that's quiet. Everybody just there like a bunch of dumb people. We seeing, we hearing, we witnessing. That special branch report is not giant own. That is the special branch report. Why you send letter for them? You see, and let me tell you how the game does go. Why that on the shelf? Why it on the shelf? I ain't want to get into this pedophile issue tonight because we ain't got time. But let me tell you something. That is what is happening in this country. It is one law for the PNM. Let me take back that. It is no law for the PNM and all the law for us. If a squatter go up the road and build up 2x4 on a piece of put up 1 2x4 on a piece of land, they sending everybody at the police. Everybody come in. But guess what? Government ministers could take what they want, put it on them name, transfer what they want, do what they want, and everybody quiet. That is what we support. That is what we support. If was the UNC, if was any of the UNC ministers was recusing themselves as Stuart Young, Alwari, Rowley, Sinanan, and others, you would have seen what would happen in this country. If was any UNC minister that go and take possession of Caroni land, you would have seen. You would have seen file here, file there. DPP involved, everybody involved. But under the PNM, nobody involved. Under the PNM, nobody involved. You know what I tell you, brother? One law for us, no law for them. And that is what this country taking. We taking everything that this government pushed down with throat. I say last week, they know it's not peanut butter. It's not smelling like peanut butter. It cannot taste like peanut butter. But they're licking that and them out. You know why? Because it's coming from Rowley. Because it's coming from Rowley. They know it's not peanut butter again. But they're licking that and they're licking the mouth. You understand? That is what they take in this country. That is what they expect the youths and them to move forward within this country. But only hold on. I am seeing a pattern that the youths and them heading down a road that very soon all you won't be able to control them, you know. All you won't be able to control them. All your parents can't control them already. All your parents can't control them. And all you can't control them because they have not seen you as parents standing up for nothing. And when they see you as parents not standing up for what is right, you could tell them youths what is right or what is wrong. You could have the belly to tell them what they're doing right or what they're doing wrong. When you as a parent not standing in this country for anything right, you not even standing up to protect your own children from this runaway dictatorial government. You not even standing up to protect the future of your children from this government, but you expect to tell the youths when they're wrong or when they're right. Parents, so let's shut all them out and take all again. Shut all your mouth and take all again, because all you're more weak than all your children. All your parents is more weak than all your children, weaker than them, because all you're not setting no example by standing up and demanding fairness, justice, equity in this country. All you're more weak than your children. Your children will still go out there and fight and beat and do what they do, but all you're weak. So how you could control them? What example is setting for them? When they go and they steal and they bring it home, all they enjoying it more than them. All they want the best out of the pie. All they don't care where they get egg, butter, cheese, milk, macaroni, but all they want the best of the pie. That is what all you encourage as parents. All they ain't standing up for nothing in this country. All they don't care if all the children become prostitute in the next 10 years to survive. All they ain't care about that. All they ain't care about that. All they care about is about say. I am saying that you parents have to stand up in this country for good governance. I don't care if it's PNM or UNC. We want good governance in this country. That is what I am advocating. Whoever sit in power, they must produce good governance, or we get rid of them from in office. But no, once all you could get a CPEP, once all you could get 10 days, once all you could get a food card, once all you could get a little kakada, all they don't care about all the children. All they don't care. And until all your parents put away all your selfish, wicked behavior and start to look out for the future generation, is until this country will continue to be crime riddled. Because the youth's not going to sit down. The youth's not going to go hungry. The youth's not going to go without clothes. The youths want nice sneakers. The youths want to blossom. But in order for that to happen, we have to demand good governance, people. We have to demand people stand up for what is right. We have to want the best for our children. What you expect when you move on or dead on a CPAP work, you expect the contractor to put your child? That's what you expect? I saw something this week and it's sick to my stomach. I see a young girl working CPAP and her mother bringing the baby to be breastfed on the job. You hear what I'm saying, Jeffrey? She working CPAP. The mother bringing the baby on the job for it to be breastfed and then take it away. That is what I go support. That is what I support. I condemn that contractor, because if you see this young lady is making such an effort, I am saying that you could have allowed that young lady to come out and work for a few hours and go back home and see about the child. That contractor more evil and wicked than anything else. And the contractor know who I talking about. I know who I talking about. And all of you know who I talking about. Why you didn't let a young girl come out and work for 2 or 3 hours and go back home where she could see, because the effort is all there? You think she leaving she baby home because everything is well? It's because the baby had to get milk, the baby had to get pampers, the baby had to live. I saw that a couple of days and it's sick in my stomach. That is what we will support in this country. That is what we will vote for, to degrade our mothers, to bring them down to that standard. That is what people supporting. All you can be right in all your head, people. All you could never be right in all your head in this country. Because if all you was right thinking citizens, this country would have been a better place. We don't vote on race, we should not. We don't vote on the color of we skin, we should not. We ought to be voting on policies. Policies that will help the young people to move forward. Policies that will reduce crime. Our sporting fraternity supposed to be on top of the list. These young children in school, all that energy that they have to fight and beat and rob, that energy need to be redirected somewhere else. That is where it's supposed to be going. We ought to have our children to the point to take over the next generation. But what we are seeing and what we are allowing is a generation of murderers to spread throughout the length and breadth of this country, simply because we have seen a government who continue to steal from the public purse. We have seen a government who continue to take money boldface just by walking out of the cabinet and walking back in. Every footstep they take to reach the door is $1 million and come back in. And yet the people who hungry in this country supporting that. The people who have nothing supporting that. The people who are the breastfed the child on the side of the road supporting that. What kind of society? What kind of society that we are condoning? We have seen from top to bottom continue to flaunt and break the laws that ought to govern all of us in this society. And yet we say nothing. We say nothing. Those in authority who have the authority to say, they say nothing. You know why? Because they doesn't want to interfere with the bread and the butter. We have great lawyers in this country, senior councils, and they will not speak out against the wrong because they have brief to collect from the government. Let me help you on the street to understand what I just say. They gain money, work from the government, sign paper, look over paper, get them to advice, and millions of your money going in the pocket, so they have nothing to say. We cannot even take a matter before the courts. You know why? Because the judgment will be the same, because some of those who ought to make fair judgment, they are studying their bread and butter. Who want promotion? Who want to become a senior judge? Who want to go on the court of appeal? Everybody quiet for the red. Well, I can't say red, but for the blue back. They quiet. They will not speak out against evil, wickedness by this government, because they believe that money is all. But that money will live to haunt you, because there is those who will continue to seek you out to take that same money from you by any means necessary. You know why? Because the common man, he knows when he is being robbed with a jacket and a tie and by a piece of legislation. He knows when he is being robbed, when he have to pay property tax, and those who implement it is exempted from the same tax that they're going to apply on you. We know those who make laws to put us in prison. They break the same laws and they are patted on the back as a good job well done. And we continue to support and allow this to happen. Don't you know that there are men who sitting in the prison, who watching the injustice even by those who send them to prison, yet benefiting from the corrupt dollar and having a wonderful life? Do you believe that that will happen forever? Trinidad, we have to take our country. We have to ensure that the laws of our country, that each and every individual from top to bottom obey the law of this land. That is what will make a proper society. It cannot be one law for you and another law for those in prison. It must be one law. It must be one way to govern this country, and that must be in an equitable manner. If you really serious about this country, Trinidad and Tobago, let us stand up. Let us stand together. Let us put aside the evil that was sown among us. That evil racial spewing that was spewed within our minds to separate, to divide, and to control us. Let us separate ourselves from that spewing, and let us collectively look at Trinidad and Tobago as our society. Let us look at Trinidad and Tobago as a society where every creed and every race must find that equal place. This country had stood up in the 1970s against this same evil, just by different individuals, and they were victorious. Why can't we stand up in 2022 against this modern evil, where I know collectively we will be victorious? We must stand and demand fairness, people. It is the only way forward. The way forward, ladies and gentlemen, is a united front. A united front where these power-hungry, crazy individuals who believe that they should rule, who seeks to further divide by trying to implement third and fourth and fifth party. I am telling you tonight that they are also the enemy of this country. Once you see individuals who seeks to grab authority by any means necessary, you ought to understand that they too are the enemies of this country. There are those who they have not even tried to fix their business, but yet they are now in Trinidad trying to see if they could fix yours. They have not even tried to fix their own business, but they are in Trinidad today trying to see and to tell you that they could fix yours when they have not even understood your problems. They have not even lived amongst you to understand what you are going through. But yet to the end of the day, they promise to fix your problem. Power. Power. We had a commissioner of police just recently, and today he is the commissioner of a new party. Why? Why? That is the debt, the detriment of power. Take the call. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, caller.
Yeah. They're creating nothing for the youth and them, when they come out of school, they have nothing to do, Because if you check it out, every year is over 15,000 and about 15,000 no more coming out of school, Where them youth going? What they go do? They have nothing to do. That always the young girl have to go and work preset. And sure she have passes and all kind of things. They can't get work, they coming out of school, the passes, one quite far and you have to go and work preset and all about. They can't get work, they're not creating nothing for the children, nothing to learn, nothing when they come out of school, either trade or some kind of thing. They have places where they can learn something, mechanics, electrician, all kind of things. They ain't creating nothing for the children. That way you see they end up on the street.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah, man.
Blessings. And the caller right. The caller is right. But the fact remains is what we going to do about it. Welcome, caller.
Finally, remember, everybody starts off as partake. Everybody starts off with a bolt of clothes and a basket, and they're selling baji, cocoa, and clothes. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. That is the point, callers. What are we going to do to help protect our youths? What are we going to do to show them guidance? What? Call in and complain? Stand up and just call? What are we going to do as parents to ensure that when the youths come out of school, that there is something for them? 218-7762. We have just about 12 minutes, so I would not go into the next point, Jeffrey. We won't have time. So we open up the phone lines. 218-7762. Now it's your turn to call and tell us what we're going to do. That is what I want to hear tonight. What are we going to do?
218-7762. We hear from you, the public.
People have to get serious in this country, boy. People have to get serious in this country. We can no longer continue. This government continue to throw away dollars, money, cents, everything down the drain. And yet to the end of the day, we just here and just taking and just in doing and just in saying and just smiling. Just smiling, people. That is what it is. Welcome, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good day, sir.
Yes, sir. What I would like, great, Mr. Roberts, great. What I would like to know, if anybody in Parliament from the UNC ever asks the ministers who want to impose the property tax, who they take the jobs from, where they getting money to pay property tax, they're not working, they're suffering, where they getting money, why we don't get rid of, I don't want to say it, I don't want to cuss her, Mr. Amcock.
Yeah. Don't cuss and don't say it.
No, I cuss already, yeah, don't worry. That's nothing, Mr. Cocky, with all due respect. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. And that is the point. What would we do? Would we send our children to steal? Would we send our children to rob to pay the property tax? Is that our intention? Send them to thief scrap iron? Send them to thief TSTT or whoever cable it is? Have them shopping online? Send them to thief somebody vehicle? Send them to rob? That is what we will do? That is what we will do, parents? That is what all I want to do? Because if all have another way of paying, if all have another way to get that revenue, then tell me. I want to know. I would like to know. You can't tell me just a couple years ago, our government was assisting the people of this country in every form and every fashion. Because of Rowley and some paper that he say, some email that somebody gave or he find or wherever, together with the press, come and tell you that a sitting prime minister and ministers planning to kill a journalist. And all you believe that. All you believe that. All you believe that. And all you acted without evidence. Now we have evidence. We seen what this government doing. We have all the evidence before us. And all you quiet. Nobody don't want to go Hollywood. Nobody in acting anymore. All you act on fake emails. All you act on allegation of corruption. All you acted. All you jump and prance. Roger and Anisette and the whole crew. Everybody jump and prance. Now we seeing. We have. We feeling. We know. It exposing all the evidence of corruption, mismanagement and wrongdoing, and nobody wants to act. Trinidad and Tobago, are they for real? Are they really for real? I cannot believe that I am living in a society with men with no fortitude. I cannot believe that I am living in a country with men with no testicular fortitude, none whatsoever. Why you laying direct all the energy in the right place? Or you shooting down one another at the side of the road? Or you killing women for no reason? Or you raping with children, with daughters, and murdering them? Why all they direct all the energy in the right place? Direct that energy in the right place. The people who is responsible for the state affairs in this country, direct all the energy there. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, Cascade here again.
Yeah, Cascade.
You see what you say about the 1970 and they get victory? Is the same PNM the people rise up against in the 1970 that throw tear gas on little children and they prepare no way for when them little children come out of school, they could go in a factory and make a telephone, make a computer, no way to export it.
Thank you, Cascade. Boy, people in this country, all you grow some fortitude, please. Grow some fortitude. You hear what I'm telling you? grow some fortitude and stand for what is right. Stand for what is right. What wrong with we in this country? We acted on allegation by Rowley that Kamala and others want to kill a journalist. We acted on that and vote out our government. Now we had the evidence that that was not true. That was make-up. All the allegation of corruption. They're trying hard to see what they could try to fabricate to lock up somebody in the UNC. They're bringing all kind of people from all over the globe trying to see what they could do. We had the evidence of the misbehavior of this government, the corruption of this government, the thievery of this government, and yet nobody wants to go Hollywood. Nobody wants to be an actor. Everybody done act. Rowdy telling all what he want. He doing all what he want. He telling all what he wouldn't do and then do it 2 weeks after, and all is still quiet. Welcome, caller.
Yes, man, the Silver Fox in the house.
Hey, Fox, you're alive?
The Silver Fox was out for a while. I was out for a while.
All right, Fox, boy. Fox, you're coming in the last 5 minutes, you know.
Well, the Fox must be there. Now, the people in this country are cowards.
Yes, I agree.
The people in Trinidad and Tobago are cowards.
I agree.
And this comes from slavery. Slavery have a lot to do with us. Because through slavery, you had to the licks. You had to beat them for them to understand. And if you don't hold a whip from them now, they win do what you have to do. But if you sit down with them, if you give them a job and you walk away, they will not walk. You have to sit down and watch them, and they go walk. You see, I don't understand what's going on in this country. The parents seeing what's going on, and they're not getting up to fight for their children. They're not getting up to fight for their children to get something in life. Wow. They don't care. They make them and they don't care. Rowley have them some kind of problem they're having. Now, just imagine the teacher, Christopher Columbus discovered this and discovered that. Christopher Columbus has discovered nothing. He come and meet people here. You can't discover something when you reach people here, right? So I don't understand. The people of Trinidad and Tobago are cowards. They're afraid to come out. They're afraid to fight for what is right. This is why Rowley say we are fools. The people of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid. Because he realized that they are not fighters. If our work, they are not Caribs. They are chickens. We are chickens. Right? We need fortitude to stand up to fight for. We don't have the fire in our belly. Everybody watching one another. What this one gonna do for me and what you gonna do for that and what you gonna do for that. They want a Jesus. If Kamala only go in power now, you see all kind of people rise up that you never see before. With all kind of strength to fight against her. Oh God, Trinidad and Tobago, all you get up now, man. All you look, I just fed up talking. Every morning I get up at this Rowley boy. Rowley is my prime minister every morning, boy. I'm fed up, man, boy. I'm fed up. Trinidad and Tobago, let us get out and move them people from. They sell petrol train. Look the little children where they're abusing. Webster Roy, you had 2 children and woe unto their soul. Webster Roy from Tobago, you had 2 children and woe unto their soul. You and others who doing these little children, these nastiness. Woe unto all you, what I meet all you, pass all you, and what I pass all you, meet all you. All you, oh God. Oh God, how much more Trinidad and Tobago could take? How much more, oh God, how much more? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fox. Remember Douglas Politics tomorrow night at 7:30 sharp. We out of here. Good night.
And stop taking serious things for nonsense and laughing. Anything that takes place in this country, whether it affects the country or we laughing. Wasaranga throwing the same race, hospital and sickness in second place and we laughing. We mad people coming from heaven knows they walk in the street with the thing exposed and we laughing. Everybody laughing, everybody glad, everybody kicks in a fun, we in Trinidad. Always reshuffling cabinet and up to now we can't do nothing yet and we laughing. They buy a boat and it never floats, instead we know it used to carry goat and we laughing. Raise the salary with a big back pay and retrenching for workers every day and we laughing. When election come and you wouldn't vote, all you saying is we go cut the throat and we laughing. Everybody laughing, everybody glad, everybody kicks in our fun, we in Trinidad.
Time has come. New 97.5. Make it your choice. Something for everyone. 975 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
New 97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners.